Hello and welcome to MLW Confusion. I'm your host Rob Cameron, bringing you all that you may or may not need to know about Major League Wrestling and its television programming. At least it usually is. Third week in a row, we got something special, something different lined up for you. It is the return of the Indie Spotlight. We're checking out Expect the Unexpected Wrestling and their show, Summer Madness 2, the full experience for that. But first, we got some news. It has been announced that Bobby Fish will be taking on a returning Timothy Thatcher at Summer of the Beasts. That will be Thursday, August 29th at the Melrose Ballroom at New York City. Thatcher, great technical wrestler. Unfortunately, just can't seem to make the grade in MLW, coming up short in almost every single match he's been a part of, and that makes baby Jesus cry as far as I'm concerned. We'll see if he can turn things around against Bobby Fish. So this goes along with the announced matches that are so far going to be Akira versus Kenta in Opera Cup quarterfinal action. Cozy Max defending the MLW Tag Team Championship finally against Country Unit, represented by Minoru Suzuki and Akira Kwan. The Featherweight Championship will be defended by Janai Kai against Tanako. Our favorite fast food breakfast sandwich will be facing Matthew Justice with Bill Alfonso. The previously announced Timothy Thatcher and Bobby Fish. Miyu Yamashita and Delmi Exo are in action. And TJP is going to be there either in an open contract match or as an alternate to the Opera Cup itself. In other MLW news, hey, they actually bothered to release a YouTube video this week. We get some more footage, some promos featuring Paul Walter Hauser and Filthy Tom Lawler ahead of their MMA cage match coming up at Never Say Never. Gotta look at Paul Walter Hauser training with I believe his American Top Team, but don't hold me to that. Feel free to yell at me in the comments, or just feel free to yell at me because I'm being snarky about them actually bothering to promote matches. Like, that's crazy go nuts. Like, who knew they knew how to film promos during their time off? It's only been like a month since they've had like any sort of like YouTube video. So crazy go nuts on that front. I'm sorry, I'm bitter about that, but like that's like the bare minimum you can do to promote yourself, and a promotion that isn't promoting itself is crazy go nuts. Anywho. Speaking of Never Say Never, that is, at least at the time of this recording, this Saturday. It is Saturday, August 10th, 10 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, on BN Sports, free of charge for everyone. I'll be pulling a doubleheader that evening, as I will be attending SCW Pro's Hot at the Bluegrass Community Center in Bluegrass, Iowa. So if you are in the Eastern Iowa, Western Illinois area, come check us out. One of the best kept secrets in Midwestern independent wrestling. Following that, we will be checking out Never Say Never live. I'll be joining the Urban Wrestling Network boys doing a live watch along. That'll be on YouTube as well, so feel free to join in, hit us up in the chat. We like talking people as we are watching our MLW. Rundown of this card is going to be as follows. Opera Cup round 1 action as Bad Dude Tito takes on the debuting Danny Jones. Jake Christ finally gets his hands on Brett Ryan Goslin. David Boy Smith takes on AJ Francis Flop Dollar in a battle of WTF, matey. Guess AJ Francis is on the outs there. Renee Michelle making her debut against Delmi Exo. Opera Cup action as Alex Kane battles Mr. Thomas in the Battle of the Beaumaillers. More Opera Cup action as Mystico battles Magnus. An MMA cage fight, Paul Walter Hauser wrestles or fights or MMAs Filthy Tom Lawler. And our main event, Satoshi Kojima, Akira, and our favorite fast food breakfast sandwich battles Contra Unit in 6-man tag team action. So, there we go. There you have it. Our MLW news for the week. We're going to take a brief break, and then we'll check out some independent wrestling action. Expect the Unexpected Summer Madness number 2. We'll be back un momento. If you're like me, sometimes you need a pick-me-up to get you through the day. I drink Ray's Energy for that pickup. Ray's comes in a bunch of different flavors, and more recently Italian Ice, which is great, by the way. And it contains no sugar, so there's no crash after you drink it. And really, like, best of all, if you go through me and go to repsports.com, use my code CASS, you get 15% off your order. So, also, be like Cass, drink Raise Energy. All right, we are back. We got the Indie Spotlight. As I said, we are checking out Expect the Unexpected Wrestling out of New Jersey. We are specifically watching their show Summer Madness #2 via IWTV. So, it's not quite free of charge. You gotta get behind a paywall on that. However, though, it comes with your subscription to IWTV. There's no tiers to it, so if you already got that, you are golden. We're starting off the show with a hype package for our Rey de Esteo. That is going to be a one-night like Styles tournament, as they put it. Kind of like the imagery they're using is harking back to like the best of the best in CZW and the Rey de Voladores in Chikara. But they are having two, I was going to call it round robin, but that's because I'm an idiot, but two fatal four-way matches to determine the finals for this here tournament. And spoiler alert, it's going to be like our first two matches, so we'll kind of cut to the chase and get started with it. So match number 1, first round action for the Rey de Esteo, is Yoya versus Joseph Alexander, aka the A-Game, versus Sam Holloway versus Braden Toon. And it looks like, well, I said it was Fatal 4-Way, and that is me also being an idiot once again. It is 4 guys, 1 winner, supposed to be 2 guys in the ring at one time. So, kind of the old school, like, not quite Fatal 4-Way, like 4-Way dance-esque rules, I guess, depending on the terminology you really want to go with it. But 2 guys in the ring at one time, only 1 winner, though. Looks like Yoya and Holiday start out, and I just gotta ask myself, especially if I'm Yoya, why? Yoya is the smallest guy in this match, and Holloway is like 6'9", Holloway is a big dude. So it's the biggest dude taking on the smallest dude, and like, that goes about as well as you expect. Yoya is going with the speed game, though. Does actually kind of like really confuse Holloway before tagging out to A-Game. A-Game is a bit more successful with his attacks against Holloway, sending Holloway to the outside. Yoya goes for a sunset flip bomb to the floor on Toon. And like, he's literally hanging onto Toon's thighs. Like, Toon is like standing on the middle turnbuckle, like facing the outside, and like Yoya is totally turning this like almost like kind of like the monkey bars. Like, he's just hanging there trying to pull Toon down before A-Game gives the assist. Not in the way Yoya would want. He pulls Yoya down and just power bombs him on the ring apron, which, by the way, if you didn't realize, was the hardest part of the ring. Holloway, goes flying and crashes into the group, and also lands shoulder first on the ground. Like, that didn't look good. You could tell, like, he's hurting, but he has got enough adrenaline going through him that he does eventually kind of like pop back up, and he's like, yeah! Oh, but that looked gnarly, and if it was like any other sport, he totally wouldn't have been back, or even played through it. But like, for a little bit, he would just kind of take himself out of the action once things stopped going his way for the most part. That being said, though, he does get locked in a Boston Crab in the turnbuckles. Yoya and Toon square off in the ring with big kicks, and Yoya just kind of like decides like he's done with this. Like, he'd rather just run away than have a match here. Holloway breaks up a German suplex pin with a diving splash off the top rope. Like, I don't know why the big guy's doing that, especially since the last dive went so well. But he gets a big splash of his own, only for 2. Holloway sit out chokeslam though on A-Game to pick up the victory. So like, the big dude like was part of some key plots in there, but got to pick up the victory. It's a crazy go nuts match. Like, I'd never seen another person used like a set of monkey bars quite like that before, or at least not when children weren't involved. And of course, like, the whole Holloway just crashing and burning on the arena floor was nuts to see as well. Our second match is also first round for Rey de Esteo. Rico Gonzalez versus Derek Dillinger versus Desmond Cole, aka the Big Boofa, and Alec Price City OG himself. So this match is already, just like with name value alone, is you already know this match is going to be out there. Looks like Boofa and Price is going to start. We get some cruiserweight standoff action with the breakdancing moves of Boofa and Alec Price kind of doing whatever it is he does. He's just a kinetic ball of energy that just flips all around. Get double blind tags though. Gonzalez one-ups Dillinger, who accidentally takes out like everybody ringside, so takes out the two non-legal men while trying to go after Gonzalez. We at this point, like, everybody's just getting some blind tags in there, but Dillinger uses this opportunity just to actually clean house on purpose, so he is taking advantage of everything. Boofa though in with a head tucked super kick followed up by an avalanche German suplex on Dillinger. Michinoku driver number 2 and a rolling leg drop by Boofa only gets a 2 count though. We get a Doomsday crossbody on Boofa, and Price hits a double stomp off the top onto Gonzalez. Gonzalez fires up, but ends up eating a wrecking ball drop kick and an apron senton. Again, hardest part of the ring out there. Everyone at this point is just starting to get their stuff in, but it ends with Boofa hitting a swanton bomb for the 3 count, making it to the finals on the shoulders of Derek Dillinger. This match is also just crazy going. That's too, just so much action that I couldn't call properly. But our finals for the Rey de Esteo is going to be Sam Holloway. Did I say Sam Holloway and the Big Boofa, Desmond Cole himself. Now we're going to move on to women's action in our third match of the night, as the debuting Rachel Armstrong battles the Kick Demon, MLW Featherweight Champion Janai Kai. Get an extended feeling out process, and Armstrong really starts taking the advantage. She's got the speed thing going on here. But unfortunately, speed needs nothing if you're just going to get kicked right in the face. And, she eats a gnarly looking big boot coming off of that. Kai just maintains control with her patented kicks, just kicking at every opportunity she can. Armstrong does pick up the pace for a wee bit, getting a 2 count with a low DDT. Unfortunately, Armstrong misses a top rope move and just eats a nasty running boot. Suplex rolls Armstrong into the corner, running corner kick. 1, 2, 3. Elementary, my dear Watson. Elementary. Your winner, Janai Kai. Fun little match. I'm not going to speak ill of the MLW Featherweight Champion, especially in this situation because, well, she's the victor. But a nice little match that was really meant to kind of debut Armstrong for this batch of New Jersey's crowd, showing her never say die attitude, trying to fight up from underneath the more experienced Kai. Unfortunately, though, falling short in the process. Following this, we get some tag team action as the Killionaire Club battles Fresh Air. Evidently, Fresh Air is trying to feud with the IW Tag Team Champion, or IWTV Tag Team Champions, the Miracle Generation. The Killionaire Club happens to be friends of MLW Confusion, with both Jay Boujii and Pretty Boy Smooth having separate interviews for this channel, so be sure to check that out. Hit up the previously taped episodes, and you can listen to my interviews with both of those gentlemen. But yeah, so Fresh Air has issues with the Miracle Generation. The Miracle Generation have come out to watch. They brought chairs with them, and they're sitting in the entranceway. Looks like Jay Boujii and McRae are going to be starting off, and despite a lot of hot dogging by McRae, Fresh Air take over quick tags, showing a lot of tandem offense. Boujii in the process gets his butt slapped, aka their ass clapped, and he is not having it. He goes out and gets a set of box cutters. Dude is now packing. Now the dude is armed. Smooth has to come in and drag him away and get him properly disarmed before we get back into the action. But Boujii was just totally gonna cut a bitch, and I don't know. I thought that'd probably been great, but what do I know? So anyway, Anyway, Smooth chooses to come in because he's kind of not trying to cut people at this point. Falls victim to the old schoolyard trip, but despite that, Smooth takes care of the big boy advantage that he has, smacking down McRae. Boujii gets tagged in, and they're going back and forth on that. So despite all this shenanigans going on, the Killionaires are taking over and start playing the heel role with some chokeholds. Boujii running distraction, and if Boujii's not running distraction, Smooth is running some distraction too, allowing some corner offense. Boujii gets some cheap shots in. Also, Boujii at one point runs around to the other side of the ring, takes out Junior Benito, and feigns being McRae's tag team partner. McRae goes for the hot tag, and Boujii's just like, fuck you, buddy. Double birds. We're all laughing at McRae's expense. However, once we get back going to the swinging things, we get a big full Nelson slam by PB Smooth. Only gets a 2 count off of that before we get a real hot tag this time, actual hot tag to Junior Benito. Benito accidentally tope suicidas into the Miracle Generation, though, going after Jay Boujii, and that's not good. But enough time has lapsed to allow Boujii to kind of get in the back of the ring and recover, allow the Killionaires to take back over. Boujii is tossed Blue Thunderbomb style tossed Blue Thunderbomb style at his opponent, allowing Boujii to hit a cutter. The pin is broken up by McRae. McRae tags in and just tries to take everybody out. It actually takes out Smooth with a big double A spine buster. Frog splash by Benito is broken up by Jay Boujii. The air freshener on Boujii, but the Miracle Generation pull the ref out of the ring. The air freshener being, Fresh Air's finisher. And so everyone's like, dude, what's going on there? You can't touch the referee like that. Evidently, Miracle Generation can, so they do. And we get the big tandem finish going into the springboard cutter, followed up by the penthouse blue on McRae. Ref recovers from the distraction to count the 1, 2, 3. The winners, friends of the show, the Killionaire Club. After the match, Miracle Generation jump Fresh Air, get on the mic, and basically just you guys wanted us so bad. Well, fine. Great. You got us now. You're going to see a different side of us, and you will see us at C4 Wrestling, where you guys can actually get a chance to challenge for the IWTV Tag Team Championship. But yeah, so this match, nifty tag team action, I will say. I love the dynamic of the Killionaires, so I'm obviously biased on that one, but I'm a fan of big guy, little guy teams, especially if the little guy is used as a weapon. And we got several opportunities to see Jay Boujii just tossed around by Smooth, and it was great. Plus, whatever, man, Boujii got some box cutters, so I'm not going to speak too ill of him, even if we weren't pretend BFFs, because I don't want him cutting me, man. Don't want him cutting me at all. But speaking of big dudes, we get another big dude in action as Joshua Bishop challenges Brandon Kirk for the Contenders Key. Contenders Key is the variation of a number one contendership in I would call it physical form, but it's not a belt or anything. He's just the official number one contender. So he is the Contender Key. Bishop looks to take that ceremonial title away from Brandon Kirk. Bishop shoves Kirk right out of the ring, just starting the party off this. So Kirk comes in, he's like, I want to be a strong boy too. I want to do some power moves. Sets up Bishop. I mean, physically, sets him in place to hit a shoulder tackle. And Bishop's just cool, okay, whatever, man. And shoulder tackles Kirk as he runs into him. Does this a handful of times, Kirk's finally just F this and attacks Bishop from behind. And that, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, that was a mistake. Kirk gets fall-away slammed clear out into the arena floor. We fight outside for a bit, and Bishop chops the ring post, and then gets kicked, has the rope kicked into his groin as we're getting back into the ring. Kirk surprisingly taking advantage of the larger opponent. Once we get into the ring, we do get a double down off of a Kirk DVD, though. Kirk survives several big slams before using a ref shield in the corner, and when Bishop chucks the ref out of the way, falls victim to a roll-up. Kirk puts his feet on the ropes and picks up the victory, sneaky Link style. Oh, man. This was a strangely kind of a comedy match for chunks of it, because Kirk is just kind of so laid back and just trying to do his thing, and then of course the whole ref shield thing at the end, which I miss the ref shield thing, back in the video games where you could just chuck the ref at people or just hold him in front of you and you can't be hit in the process. But whatever, man, it was totally effective this time, causing the distraction to allow him to beat the bigger Bishop. So still the Contender Key champion, if you will. Up next, more women's action as Hyen battles Casey Catal, who is the significant other of Brandon Kirk, just FYI. Not that it matters for this match, but I was watching this with the wife, and she was like, why is this music playing again? And I'm like, oh, it's probably because they're a tandem. And she's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Still don't like the music, though. That's fine. Anywho, so, Hyen versus Casey Catal, extended feeling out process, really long time there. Catal takes the lead, though, but gets dumped off the top rope to the floor. Hyen grinds away. Catal hits a snap. Michinoku driver number 2 only gets 2 count off that one. That one looked kind of rough, if I do say so. Catal, though, capitalizes off of a Hyen charging shoulder first into the ring post. Back suplex only gets 2 there. We get a chop off, and finally Hyen charges Catal into the corner. Big powerbomb by Catal only gets 2 off that. Spear followed up by an attempted glam slam by Hyen. Unfortunately, though, Catal rolls through the glam slam and picks up a 3 count out of nowhere. Crazy go nuts. Everyone's shocked except for Catal, who's excited by this turn of events. However, Catal wants to give respect to Hyen, and they do. They have their handshake, and everybody metaphorically wins. Everybody's on the same page. Everybody's feeling good. But there is only one winner, and that is Casey Catal. This quick little fun match. We're following this up with the big boys, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of name value, as Matt Mikowski battles Mike Santana in his big old return to the Indies. We start the match off with lots of graps, as you'd expect from Mikowski. And Santana really has been trying to show that he can go in any way, shape, or form that you want to have him in. So he's trying to match the graps with Mikowski. Santana acknowledges that Mikowski's really good, actually. He looks over the camera person. He's like, this guy's really freaking good. Before we go back to the in-ring action, Santana kicks Mikowski out of the ring, and with a wrecking ball dropkick to follow that up with. Doesn't last long, though. We come back in the ring, get 3 amigos by Santana, only gets 2 count off of that. Mikowski is sent to the ring apron, but rolls through and hits a rolling back control, which I thought was interesting. He fended off an attack by Santana, slingshots himself into the ring, rolls, and then just bear hug from behind. Back control, MMA style. But this is where Mikowski's really going to try to focus on the submission game. Starting to work over Santana's arm, because Mikowski is the master of the cross arm breaker. So we're working the arm, except we do get a Boston Crab sequence out of the dealio for some odd reason, but Santana gets to the ropes. Comeback Secret 69 by Santana ends with a rolling cutter, only gets 2 count off of that one. Mikowski hits a pop-up DVD, only 2 count off of that one too. Mikowski comes back in full form. He hits a Psycho knee, followed up by a power bomb and a second Psycho knee for 2. We get a spirit battle, stereo stiff shots, and a double down off of that one. We're now trading pinfalls attempt. This is where I'm just kind of rolling my eyes, because I kind of hate these spots where I'm not always a big fan of spirit battles anyway, because sure, just come on, hit me, maybe knock me out in one punch, I don't know, only one way to find out, and then just trading maneuvers and just basically just no selling it to come back and just to do another maneuver, or in this case, hitting maneuvers at the same time and bouncing back almost immediately. Just kind of took me out of the match. While I was being taken out of the match, though, Santana hits the discus lariat to pick up the victory. Following this, Santana gets on the mic. He puts over the crowd, puts over ETU, and really just like talks about respecting the ring. And the epitome of respecting the ring is Matt Mikowski, who's putting in the work, respecting this here ring. And he basically just tells him, don't let anybody get into your head, kid. Just keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing it. And I don't know what I meant by that exactly. Anywho, so yeah, your winner, Mike Santana. Following this, we get our finals for the Rey de Esteo. It is Sam Holloway versus Desmond Cole, the big Buffa. Buffa tries the speed game, but Holloway just has an answer for everything, including finally just finishing things up with a double arm suplex into the ring corner. That looked like it kind of hurt. Buffa hits a whisper in the wind, though, to take advantage for a bit. He's just literally just flinging himself at Holloway at this point, just like doing whatever he can to like hurt the big man, and it is being moderately effective at this point, at least until he gets a shotgun dropkick straight into his chest, flinging him halfway across the ring, followed up by a big pump handle suplex. Only 2 count off of that, though. Holloway hits a big diving splash. Like, second match that he's done this, only get a 2 count off that, and when the straps are down, he's ready to hit the big choke slam, but Buffa slips out of the choke slam like several times, and finally gets the big man up for a brain buster. Crazy go nuts. Like, Buffa's not that big of a guy, and Holloway's like 6'9", so Holloway is a big dude in his own right. Get a tornado kick followed up by the swanton bomb, and your winner and the king of style, the big Buffa, Desmond Cole. I thought this was a fun match. Solid psychology over here. I didn't really reference it, but Holloway had his shoulder somewhat taped up, and they tried to play into that in some aspects of the match. It wasn't like the shoulder wasn't the focus point, but it was a nice little like pressure point for Buffa to kind of like get his control back, or at least stall Holloway for a moment before Holloway kind of resumes his momentum. From here, we are getting ready for our main event of the evening. It is Titus Alexander taking on Marcus Mathers for the key to the East Championship. Before the match starts, we do get a very stilted promo from Titus, who... I really wanted to say he is going to like the William Shatner, Christopher Walken school of promos, but it wasn't but his diction wasn't quite like that. It was a bit more like, I'm going to say a sentence. Now I'm going to say another sentence. And another even. So many sentences. Coming for the title, baby. Yeah. Stupid. I don't even know what this is at this point. Anyway, but, I can make fun of the promo all I want, but, like, in reality, like, we're going to have ourselves a pretty decent match for the most part. Lots of graps to start the party off with Alexander taking over. He is the bigger competitor, the stronger competitor in this match. However, Mathers takes a dive outside, or at least eats the dive going outside. Inside the ring, Mathers picks up the pace. He is the speedier of the two, sending Alexander outside, but they're not fighting outside for long. Inside the ring, we hit a Luigi kick, as I'm calling it. Only gets a 2 count off of that. Mathers goes to do a double jump crossbody, but eats a drop kick midair. That was kind of nifty to see. Alexander takes time to taunt in between all of his offensive maneuvers, certainly endearing himself to the crowd with various F-bombs being sent his way in unison. However, Mathers is taking the opportunity in between these taunts to successfully hit himself a double jump crossbody. Not able to get any sort of like pinfall off of that, though. Springboard stunner and a German suplex, only gets 2, though. Spinning flatliner, still not entirely successful, only getting a 2 count off of that one. Alexander comes back with a brainbuster of his own to get a 2 count, and now we're just going back and forth, doing that spot I talked about in the Santana match that I kind of hated. We're doing it again, except it ends with an Alexander lariat. Mathers hits a springboard destroyer, but it doesn't end the match because it just sends Alexander right to the outside of the ring, right to the arena floor. So I'm going to allow this. Usually I hate pile drivers not being in the end, but you really can't pin a guy if you launched him clear to the floor. So there's that. So they got around my rule for that one. Alexander, in the meanwhile, also when he finally wakes up, is taken out by a tope suicida outside of the ring. However, things change when we get inside the ring. We get a Busaiko knee, followed up by a Chaos Theory by Alexander. Only gets a 2 count off of that one. 2 big knees, and the ref's just kind of like, no, we should slow down here. Like, he might be dead. And Alexander's like, nah, doesn't matter. And we're going to still have a match off of this. But, like, Mathers is so concussed, he can't run the ropes off of Irish Whip. But he can hit a spin kick. So, wrap your head around that however you like. I'm just going to pretend and tell myself that he was playing possum when he fell down trying to run the ropes. Anywho, Kip Up Cutter gets a 2 count for Mathers. Power Bomb, followed up by the 450 splash, and this time, Mathers is successful in putting down Alexander, and still, ETU Key to the East champion, Marcus Mathers. Following this here match, Mathers gets on the mic and basically, like, his words not mine, calls Alexander a fucker, but he respects him because he's put in the work and put on a darn good match. Wants to shake Alexander's hand, though if Alexander doesn't want to do it, that's fine too. He'll survive. But Alexander does come over and actually shakes his hand. Does tease gonna like sucker punch Mathers, and Mathers flinches, and Alexander just kind of wags his fingers like, hey, yeah, got you, and does leave the ring. But we're not done yet. Brandon Kirk comes out, gets on the microphone. He wants a reminder here. He is the #1 contender to the Key to the East championship. Is he laying down the challenge? The commentary is kind of confused on this, but Kirk basically just puts over Mathers and talks about like how much he respects Marcus for the work he's put in for the business, and he's watched Marcus grow from being a 17-year-old rookie to where he is now. But before he can continue to shovel on the accolades, a couple of masked dudes come out. They're ready to stand off, and the lights go out. And when the lights come back on, Brandon Kirk's like standing on the side of the masked dudes. They turned off the light to do that. He just stands there as the masked dudes take out Mathers. Finally, like once he's beaten down sufficiently and now being held down by the masked dudes, Kirk gets the mic again and just is like, dude, you should have seen this coming. Like, but you didn't, because you're really self-centered. And like, this road to the title has like made you forget all the people that have helped you along the way, like all the people that have like helped you get to this level of success, and the people you've stepped on while champion for this length of time. And he reveals the masked men. One of them is Matt Makowski, who was supposed to have a title opportunity, instead had to wrestle Mike Santana, and I believe is Jeff Gray. Oh, now I'm blanking out. But he was like he was also another person that was supposed to be getting a title match that Mathers just kind of blew him off, and Kirk's just like, it's like you don't have anyone. Like, you've turned your back on everybody, and now your sins have come to find you. And they beat him down a bit more. They tape him upside down to the top rope and thump him a couple of times as Austin Luke comes out to even the odds-ish. But Swerve Bro, Austin Luke, is taking part in the beatdown too, helps tie up Mathers to the top rope, so he's just dangling upside down, all the blood rushing to his head. And like, we're just kind of treating this as a photo shoot. Security comes out, they're beaten away by this new tandem, new stable, whatever. They are now expecting the expected as we fade off, and that is Expect the Unexpected Summer Madness Part 2. You know, outside of some minor gripes overall, like, it was a real fun show. I've been meaning to check, like, I'm not gonna lie, I've been meaning to check them out for a bit. Obviously, both Boujii and Pretty Boy Smooth put over ETU. And yeah, the totally delivered a nice mixture of some established indie talent with some up-and-comers coming in from all over the country, because Titus Alexander's a West Coast guy initially, so it was all really neat to see. So if you have an IWTV subscription, be sure to check those out. In the meanwhile, speaking of checking things out, be sure to stay tuned, get the plugs, all that sort of good stuff. The best ways to help support this your small podcast. Be sure to check out the MLW Never Say Never watch along with the Urban Wrestling Network. That is on YouTube. If you dig out the links on my social media, you'll find it somewhere around those parts. And then in the meanwhile, of course, it's been cool, and I'll see you all next week. MLW Confusion is a weekly podcast that's written and performed by Rob Kammer and is hosted by Spotify for podcasters. MLW Confusion is part of the Urban Wrestling Network, and you can check them out on the Underground Rundown on YouTube at Urban Wrestling NW. Background music for this section is Ruined My Day, performed by Alan Schroeder. If you enjoy this podcast and would like to support, please like, subscribe, and tell your friends, family, and enemies. Leaving a review is also helpful, as word-of-mouth advertisement is very important for small podcasts. My social media links can be found in the descriptor, but the Twitter and Instagram are at The Nova of Cass, that is TheNovaofCass, and Facebook is at MLW Confusion, all one word. If you'd like to support monetarily and help upgrade my equipment, and etc., please check out the tip jar at ko-fi.com/Casanova, or if you prefer some more bang for your buck, go to patreon.com/Casanova, that is CASSONOVA, whereas for as little as $2, backers get access to the podcast early and without those pesky ads, plus other exclusive content. So join the crew that is headed up by Keith Wynn, Alan Schroeder, The False Prophet, Alexander McCarthy, and Left Tendo, and check it out. You can also find t-shirts, coffee mugs, and other merch at the Confusion Podcast store on Teespring. Links will be below. For business inquiries such as ads and sponsorships, please email at rzkammer, that is Kamer, at comcast.net. Thank you for listening.